Hey everyone, welcome to our, I think it's 15th or 16th episode of the Member Success Series, and we're super excited about our guest today. Today is April 23rd, 2025, and my name's Sue Brooke. I've been a member of Alignable for many years, like 10 and a half years or something crazy like that. But I've been on the Alignable team for the last 5 years, and I love talking to our most successful members on Alignable. I've got to meet a lot of them in person as I was traveling across the country in my motorhome. But Chuck, you've met a lot of people because of your being the contest king. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, and that's really exciting. Yeah, I'm the one that brought the contest to Alignable. I'm also the head of PR, so I do the polls and I send out news releases about winners. I send out news releases about the polls to amplify everyone's voice because a big thing for me is that small business people do not get even a fraction of the credit they deserve, and I'm here to give you as much credit as possible. And part of that is amplifying your voices in these polls. And luckily, sometimes Congress even listens. So it's pretty exciting.
That's
What we're one little polling organization that's a tiny fraction of Alignable can do with all of your help to take those surveys. So thank you in advance for that.
that's awesome. And just a little FYI, if you guys ever hear, if Chuck ever posts anything in the newsletters each week and he's looking for somebody that's experienced something with that's going on in the news, you have a chance to actually get on national TV, in the news, in newspapers. We have quite a few Alignable members that have gotten the news that way because of Chuck. So yeah,
Thank
pay
you
attention
very
to him.
much. Thank you for the plug. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to get some introductions here to our two amazing guests. I actually let's start with Jeff because Jeff is here in the Phoenix area where I am located right now, and I've spent some time with him in person. He's the local ambassador for the Chandler Alliance in the Phoenix metro area. So Jeff is amazing, and I just want to say this one thing. So I was at an event with him. I think it was last week or the week before, and I said, I need some to interview someone for the member success series that's had successes. And he's like, I have. So go ahead, Jeff, do a quick introduction of who you are. And yeah, go for it.
Sure. Yeah, I've been on the Alignable platform probably around 6 years or so. Been actually involved ever since your involvement, I guess, when the alliances really first came about. And then I've been a ambassador hosting in-person networking events for our local alliance chapter here for about almost 2 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I am a IT managed service provider. And basically, what we do is we provide those IT essential business services for all small and medium sized businesses, and cybersecurity, antivirus monitoring, protection, network servers, all the above, and can help businesses on their startup to actually get their .coms and their emails and all those office products as well. So that's just a real quick overview of what I do. But yeah, Alignable's been great. Yeah.
Cool, Molly.
Yeah, I haven't been on Alignable as long as Jeff has, but I've been on here for a couple of years, and it was love at first sight, I swear. Since the day I started, I've been super active on here because it's just what is so needed. And so what I do is I use a tool called Human Design, and I am a spiritually aligned strategist and business mentor now as well. I just started a program that is going super well, thanks to Alignable. I'm sure we'll talk about that stuff later, but yeah, so I really just want to help service-based leaders get in their flow state and really grow those strong voices that are just going to be the bedrock of the economy, you know?
That's amazing. And I want everybody to know I do a mastermind every single Friday, and Molly's there every single week. She is a staple there, and you have helped so many business owners. I really appreciate you being there every week, Molly. And if you guys have not been there, you need to join us every single Friday. So, Chuck, you want to kick us off with a question for these two amazing people?
Well, I have to ask Molly a little more about being spiritually aligned or helping people to be spiritually aligned for their businesses. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So what I actually do is I use a tool called Human Design, which is like quantum physics meets like these four core esoteric systems, like astrology, the I Ching, the chakra system, and the Kabbalistic tree of life. And it's got this really crazy accurate, I'm sure you'll see in the comments because some of my people are here. Yeah. And basically what it does is it teaches you how to follow alignment. It gives you directions, and it's a map to who you are and your energy and how it flows in your circuitry. And so it can set you up for stepping up into these higher frequencies that just really magnetize people to you and bring different opportunities to you and really just help you live life and business to the fullest potential.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We'll have to talk after this.
You two definitely need to talk.
Yeah, no, there's
I've heard you're spiritual, so just a little snippet of that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no, that's sounds very interesting. The combination of all of that sounds very interesting to me. Wow. Amazing. That's an eyebrow popper. And I've heard of it before, but I've never had it explained quite that way. So excellent.
Yeah,
wow.
right.
Once you know it, you can't run from it. I'm looking at what Tanya were. Hey,
That's awesome.
well, I am very excited about that. What are you doing at 4:30, Mollie? Anyway, we'll talk to you later. We'll set something up. Jeff, let me ask you a little bit about, what your successes have been here on Alignable, and how you would coach other people to find success here.
Yeah. So, I founded my business as well on spiritual principles as well. The name of the company, Alpha Omega Technical Services, the first and last place for your technical needs, and all those moralistic guiding principles of how I run and design my business as well. So, first off, success on Alignable, I think, is if you're new to Alignable and you're just, Sue has this great Alignable University course saying, I'm on Alignable, now what? The key is to have a completely filled out, very in-depth profile that lists every category and everything is filled out. You don't want to leave any of those areas unchecked. So that is where the tools of Alignable and the site is actually going to be able to help you the most by having all that information. I mean, first off, if you haven't done that, the rest of the site is going to be not as useful as it could be. So that's the first thing I would say. Go right off and get your profile completely established, every section filled out, and then you'll kind of see actually how the platform starts to work for you without you having to work so hard.
Like that. Cool. So what is your successes, Jeff? Because I met you the other day and I said, I want to interview someone with successes. You go, I have some. I said, don't tell me. So I'm excited to hear too. For the
we've been holding them back. Oh,
I want to be surprised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have actually, just naturally, organically from my involvement on the Alignable platform and just the involvement and chatting and commenting and updating on people's comments, I've actually obtained my largest two clients organically from the Alignable platform directly that actually sought me out from the platform without me actually introducing or, cold calling the relationship or, trying to start any of those things out. So yeah, so my largest client that I've actually got from Alignable has got 75 end users, so which is a really nice client for me. And then the number two has about 36. And so those have worked out great, and they're actually both here locally. But nice thing is that it doesn't matter where they are. I can, as long as there's an internet connection, I can take care of any computer anywhere. So
right.
God, that's amazing.
When you say end user, you mean then you end up working with a lot of those people, like the 75 or the 32, like you're helping most.
Correct. I have my monitoring and protection services physically on every one of those computers for that company. And then it's providing a 24/7 proactive monitoring, maintenance, a lot of AI happening in the background, keeping the systems updated, maintained to their highest optimal performance. So ideally in an IT world, you never want to hear from your clients because that means they're not having problems. So I really hear from my dedicated clients that have been on my systems, because I've been developing this system for over 12 years. And I actually really very seldom hear from my clients for actual issues unless it's a new user setup or, you know, integrating some new email on a new computer, and they're just not sure of the steps and the processes. But as far as actual stuff, unless a computer is just like 6 or 7 years old, there's not a lot of hope I can do there, you know. But yeah.
So I got to ask you this, because you said you kind of organically got them. How did they find you? Was it in person at any of your in-person events? Was it online? Was it because they saw you somewhere? Do you know the details of how they found you?
Yeah, I do. Then they found me on the platform itself. So it wasn't from any of the in-person networking events. It was just from my interactions with the community directly in the local community chats. It's where they
Really?
came, and they came to me from the site itself. Right.
Wow. So so they saw posts that you made and that you were active on the platform.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Correct. Because there's a different business clientele generally that comes to the in-person events. There's a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of small businesses. Not that you don't want to help those people either, but the larger, you know, where you're looking B2B with like 6+ computers, maybe a brick and mortar and all those, you don't see a lot of those coming to the in-person events. It's more of your typical networking type people that are trying to grow their, you know, their small business at the in-person events. And so those are good. But the other connections that I've made from the Alignable platform have been better.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, Mollie, let's hear your success stories. I haven't heard yours either.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it really, something that I've learned through Alignable and just my experience here is that it really comes in 3 different kind of waves, right? The first wave is the networking wave, right? And that's where I met like Joe, who is my business partner, that we do a lot of stuff together, right? And then there is the super fan wave that comes after that, where it's like people who really like your message or are really aligned with what you're doing and really excited. And I have several of those in this group, and it tends to be mutual, right? You tend to also love what they do. And so it's building really cool relationships. And then after that, the audience is the third part that just keeps going. And so between the my business managers here, as well as Joe, and then I have other people that are in here like Tanya and Eileen that are part of my newer mentorship program, but started out before that as other aspects, you know, in my network and things like that. And so what I've discovered is you never really know, like you can't assume what people need and want, right? You just need to continue to put yourself out there, and you'll be really surprised by who is like really excited about what you're doing. There's no one, especially doing spirituality stuff, right? It's amazed me over and over again, the type of different types of people that I've found across the country that I've really clicked with on Alignable.
Wow. And just curious, so you met Joe on Alignable?
Mm-hmm.
And your business partners, have you met in person?
No, not yet.
No? Oh my God. And you became business partner. That is amazing. Like, I love those stories. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
How exciting is that? Wow. Okay, so let's keep going with your tips for new business owners. So I'll start with Mollie with that. Let's get some good tips on, like, if there's a newbie here that's brand new to Alignable and they want to get customers, like you guys have gotten some of your great customers. Go ahead, Mollie, you go first.
Well, I would just say start with that first layer that I was talking about, the network, right? And one of the best things that you can do is go to Smart Connects, because it's like, you know, speed dating for networking. And I always suggest that people use it for a sort of market research, right? To put feelers out, to connect with what you love doing, what you're skilled at, and what people actually want. And while you're doing that, building these real relationships, what's going to happen is people are going to start, you know, you'll start building that super fan base where people start organically mentioning you in rooms just because they love what you're doing. A referral partnership that is like clinical isn't going to get you, unless, I mean, there are certain things like that are cut and dry, right? But generally speaking, the best referral partnerships you're going to have are ones that were never talked about, right? Just because they are so connected to you. So
Right.
that's what I would suggest to do. Just keep putting yourself out there and connect.
Exactly. Showing up and doing, I love that one. How about you, Jeff?
Mute there. Yeah, similar. I mean, right after your profile is done, get out there, join your industry groups, look for groups that have something to do with what it is that you do. You'll find that there's a lot of competitors in there, but you're nationwide generally. So are you really realistically competing against someone in Nebraska if you're in Arizona? Probably not. So you get in there and you can share and collaborate and learn from people that are literally doing the same thing that you're doing, even if you're doing the same thing, selling to the same potential customer, but more than likely your geographic location isn't going to put you in front of that customer that they're talking to. And then so it's like on the industry groups. So join other groups, look for all the groups you can, and then all those smart connects. That's the key too. There's probably 8, 9, 10, maybe even more a day that you could fill your schedule up every day with 30-minute, 1-hour smart connects. And literally you're going to get in front of maybe 6, 7, or 8 other business owners one-on-one in each one of those. So it's not like you're just in a group setting talking. You're actually going to get that one-on-one, 5 minutes, talk about each other, get to know each other. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, you're gonna wind up meeting those people multiple times, and you can grow those relationships through those, or take them out of those smart connects and continue those conversations after.
I love that. And Chuck, remember we were talking with Brittany is on the Alignable team, who's in charge of groups, and Small Business Week is coming up, right, Chuck? And
it sure is May 4th through the 10th here in the States. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've talked to her. I know we were in a meeting with her the other day, but we're going to find out soon. You guys are going to love this. So they're going to set up smart connects all across Alignable that are in what they're going to call spheres. So you're going to hopefully meet up with people in smart connects with, like, if you're in health and wellness, they're going to put all people that might be great referral partners for each other, and you're good to attend smart connects. Am I correct, Chuck?
Yes, indeedy. Yeah, no, I was in that brainstorming session. That is the truth. Yes, that's going to be very exciting. It's the first time we're doing it that way, because we're finding, just bringing the curtain down here a little bit, or we're raising it, we're finding that a lot of the affinity groups, whatever that affinity might be, like we just had a huge event for contest winners.
Oh,
and exclusively contest winners, and it was our biggest event we've had in a long time. We had 53% of the people who signed up attend. It's 171 people smart connecting who were all contest winners, to the point where they've asked for another one for next month. So that's the kind of thing. Again, the affinities are really big, and keep looking for that and keep suggesting it too. If for some reason your affinity is not covered, and again, we have so many different professions represented on Alignable, it would be hard to cover all of them, but speak up on that, because we're really looking for new ways to connect people.
exactly. So keep your eyes out. I think she's going to be posting. You're going to hear a lot about, probably in the newsletter this week.
Yes, this week is the first one in the newsletter. Yep.
Yeah. So look and see, because now, and I'm going to bring this up for a question for you too, because we have a fairly new thing. Over the several months ago, we launched Alignable 360. And like Jeff said, I hope you all heard him at the beginning about that profile. And specifically on your profile, the ideal customers and the tags that you have to choose, and your ideal referral partners, choosing the right tags it's mandatory, because
It's
otherwise
everything.
nothing will work for you. Nothing. And so when these new smart connects get started, if you put in there that your best referral partner is an IT guy or whatever, then then for those different spheres, you'll get invited to these different smart connects, where you will find the people that you're looking for, your ideal customers, and especially referral partners. That's the biggest reason why we're doing that. So Alignable 360, I was talking to Jack earlier, you said that you've been digging around in there and playing around with it. Do you have any tips or anything of what have you seen so far? What is your overall view, or if you have any successes on that so far?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any direct successes from it yet. I mean, it's still fairly new, but now that I've been digging around and looking at it, when you have as many connections as I've got on Alignable, which I have quite a few, I don't even know the true number of connections that I've got right now, but it can be a little almost overwhelming right at first. So if I go to my Alignable 360 page, right off the bat, it tells me that from my connections, I can be connected to 16,000 ideal customers of mine. And so I'm able to go into those other people that I'm connected with, and I can see that this one guy is connected to 5 of my ideal customers, how many connections they have, how many potential referral partners that they've got connections to, and then if they've recommended me, if I recommended them, and how active they are on the platform. So it kind of gives you, the ability to go in there and really vet before you even start having the conversation. You can go in there and start asking them, hey, can I be connected with, such and such, and they can send that mutual connection, and you can request being connected to certain people that they know if you think that might be a good fit for you. And there's I mean, just literally from the connections of my connections, it says that there's 498,000 potential connections.
Exactly.
So I
think
mean, so
that's
you're not going to want to
enough?
go through all that, but you're going to want to vet
You
some of
think
that.
that's
And
going to be enough for you?
yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll let you know next week. No.
No, I mean, that's I've been teaching Alignable 360 a little bit, and that network reach, is that where you're seeing that, the network
Yeah.
reach?
Yeah.
So just so everybody understands what Jeff is saying, so your network reach is you add up all the people you're connected to. So if you're connected to 100 people, that's 100 of them, but those 100 people are connected with people, and that's your second degree network. Okay, so you're only just arm's length away from that. So if on Alignable 360, I can actually go, wow, Jeff has a lot of people. I'm going to go to Jeff's name, and I'm going to click see matches, and I get to go into his network and see his entire network, which is prioritized by my ideal customers and referral partners. And I can do just exactly what he said, go through and go, oh, I'd really like to meet this person. They have a lot of high potential things that match up with who I'm looking for. So very awesome. Mollie, have you had any chance to play around in that at all?
Yeah, I have. And what I think is really cool about it is like those things I was talking about before, the networking and then the super fans, right? It's those 2 layers, right? And so it really speeds up that process. I wish it had been around when I had started, and I think it's so great if anybody's new here that they it'll speed up that whole process. And I think too, something that on the receiving end of it, when I've had people make requests, I like to let them know, give a little like, this is somebody that I have gotten to know well, or this is somebody that I don't know very well yet, but they seem really cool about this or whatever, and give a little bit of context there so that they know what to do with that referral that they get from me. So
I love it. And I'm
Mollie-
really glad you brought that up. Make sure you tell Alignable if you know them well or you don't know them well, so that your AI networking coach can give you the right suggestions. But yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, I think, Mollie, in particular, well, both of the guests who have a spiritual basis for your business, I don't think it's any coincidence the different people who pop up through AI or other means that find you. And I think it does expedite it. So I loved what you said, Mollie, about that. But it's also showing too, when you get asked for introductions, right? That is probably one of the most flattering things someone could do. You just say, "Oh, I see you know this person. Can you do an introduction? Can you do this?" And it builds all of this. And the same thing with the contest too. People who are voting for each other, and all of those affinities go into Alignable 360. So that's why we've always said, and it's only a month after the contest, maybe 6 weeks, but if you did a lot in the contest, you did well, or you did a lot of networking during the contest, Alignable 360 should work even better for you because you stack the deck there. So keep that in mind.
I love that. All right, what other questions do we have for them? Chuck, did you have another one?
Well, I do. I would like to know, just fascinating guests. I mean, they are every week, though. We do say that if you looked at every one of ours, but we do love our guests. So there you have it. Um, Jeff, I'd love to know when you first got started on Alignable, and again, it's sort of the newbie question again, but beyond filling out your profile, was there a period where you just were sort of like, geez, I'm not sure what to do next. Like, what would you tell people, who maybe they listened and said, okay, they filled out their profile and they went to a couple of smart connects. Is there an element of being patient too? Like, just stay on it, stay the course?
Yeah, I've actually had some people actually message me that almost that exact question a couple times. And they're like, I'm just not seeing anything. And I'm like, well, I mean, there is that period of time of patience where, I mean, networking is about the relationship. It's not about just sealing the deal, so especially in my field being IT, and that's why with the spiritual foundation, maybe that has a connection to some people, and there may be almost like a potential trust there right off the bat, because you have the keys to the kingdom per se. Whenever you have the IT, you're their IT guy, you've got access to everything. So there needs to be that trust built in. I'm not going to just get that from a 5-minute, connect with someone. And so I would do that, and then I definitely look for those in-person alliance meetings. If there's anyone in your area, go to those in-person meetings, because the face-to-face virtually is great, but if you can really get the in-person face-to-face, it kind of almost like steps the connection up a little bit more, because because then you've really got that handshake behind it, and but obviously the entire alliance platform on Alignable, just having those quick connects and just being able to get in front of so many people and have conversations. But it is a time taker. The first probably 8-9 months here, I didn't feel like I was probably going anywhere on the platform either, but there wasn't a lot of the functions yet in the platform. It was still
There wasn't
really,
anything back then.
yeah, exactly. It was very new in its infancy. So, I gave it patience even when there wasn't all the tools in place that there are now. So, and it wound up benefiting me and paying off. So definitely just keep trying, keep connecting, keep going to the in-persons, go to the quick connects. And if you went to a quick connect last week, just because you went to it last week doesn't mean you should not go to that same quick connect next week, because you might find that only 10 or 12% of those people that went last week might even go to this week. So you're going to be introduced to a whole new set of people.
I love it. Mollie, how about same question for you?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that I typically do is, I mean, I run 3 groups on here. So I will say, hey, you know what? I understand it's hard, but lucky for you, I happen to run 3 groups. And I also know that Joe will makes the same kind of space that I do. So I'm going to invite you to those groups. Why don't you come to one of our events? We do multiple in each one each week. And if you can't, and if you don't have that, right? I would say the 2 events that I think are really, really potent every week is, of course, Sue's Friday Mastermind. And the one that I found really, really helpful, actually, and I was like, wow, is Eric's Smart Connect. I think it's Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
That is an incredible one where he knows exactly what to say to help people understand for the first time what they're doing, right? And then also Sue has the weekly I'm new to Alignable, now what? So I would say just share certain events and have repetition on what you do and what you find helpful. And that's how I help new Alignable people. And they tend to stick around. They come to my groups every week and they start growing and they're just getting really big. And it's really, really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what are the groups that you run, just to let everybody know? Maybe you could put them in the chat later too.
Yeah. Joe, could you help me and put them in the chat? So the ones that I run are the industry group. That's the business consultant group, which shortly after I started on Alignable, Brittany saw that I was able to make engaging posts, and she reached out to me and she was like, hey, are you thinking about wanting to do this? And I was like, absolutely, let's go. And then after that, I was like, can I start my own? And so I started a human design one. It's called Magnetize and Monetize. And then there is the AI Frontier Collaborative that is Joe's group that I support as well as a co-leader.
Awesome. Very cool. And then you're in, which group are you running, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm actually the IT industry group leader. So there, last I checked, I don't know, 67,000 IT companies in that group. So
Wow.
it's a massive group. And of course, most of us are competitors. So trying to find those synergies and just posting information on how to just, share tips, tricks. Because like I said, even though we're doing the same thing, generally speaking, we're not in competition with each other organically with the local social areas that we're really going to try to get that business from. So I've been trying, and it's hard to get IT people to engage and have that social conversation. So I'm kind of like the non-IT guy, I guess is what you could say.
Are you the IT extrovert?
I am, I guess so. Right. I'm a networking king, I guess. I'm out networking 2, 3, 4 times a week, probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm one of the only extroverts at Alignable, so I appreciate that.
No, I just did an event yesterday called Networking for Introverts. We had like 200 people registered, and we had, I don't know, 60 or 70 show up yesterday. That was amazing. Since we're on the topic of groups, a lot of people come on Alignable, and I talk to brand new Alignable members all the time, and most all of them are used to social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those other kinds of places. And then they come to Alignable and they just post the same thing. I've even had people say, I have a virtual assistant that does all my posting. And it's like, that's not what Alignable is about. So can you guys either one of you, whoever wants to go first, have any tips on how to engage and act in our groups? That's and what not to do, maybe even some what not to do's. Who wants to go first? Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, what not to do's. I mean, honestly, if you're just coming out the gates and you're trying to sell yourself, here's my product, this is what I sell, this is, you need 5 of them, come get it today, yeah, it's over before it starts. You've eliminated the potential and any possibility of a relationship there, so like even I haven't gotten a lot of business from the in-person events. You just build those relationships, and it's who they know and the referrals that will come from those relationships over time. So definitely it's the patience thing again. If you get frustrated, and the worst thing you could do is get frustrated after 2, 3 weeks of trying and just quit, because then your potential is over at that point.
Man, that was golden. Molly, what about
yours? That was golden.
That was majorly golden. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, I would say, I think it's interesting. We tend to come in, like you were saying, being from other places, especially LinkedIn, thinking it's a networking thing. And there's like the pitch slap that'll start, right? And so I like to use those as teachable moments and slow it down and say, you know what, we actually all start out there. So it becomes a safe space, right? Because that holds them, because none of these people that I have yet to really talk to about this, they're a little embarrassed, right? They're like, oh, because they would rather be that alignable person that can connect. Right. They want that, right? They want that, right? They just don't know that that's what it is, because there's nothing like Alignable anywhere else, right? And so it's a process. And I think like we're all kind of here to nurture each other through that. And of course, there's always going to be a few people that it just doesn't click with. And I don't think that there's a whole lot that we can necessarily do about that, because they tend to just do it in mass and they're not really paying attention. And, I'm sure it's just conditioning there too. But I think it's just holding the space and remembering that most of these people that are doing these behaviors just didn't know there was another choice, right?
And I love what you guys said.
Exactly. The other thing is, and I always like to say this, but you reminded me of it, Molly, is On Alignable, nice gals and nice guys do finish first because people, whether they can use whatever it is your main business does, or if you have three businesses, whatever those businesses do, whatever it is, they just want to work with you or they want to just
Yes,
refer you. Geez, I don't know what Chuck does, but I go find out. You would
that.
like that, or oh, geez, Jeff's a great guy, and sure, he's an IT guy and whatever, and maybe we wouldn't overlap, but maybe there's someone he knows that needs Mollie's, service, right? You know, um, it's those kinds of things where you don't need to sell yourself other than just being your best self,
Percent.
right?
There's some questions in the chat, Chuck. I don't know if you see any. I see one. Maybe you can go through two. I see one for Jeff from Erica. How would you modify what you were saying about your in-person philosophy for networking for somebody who does their business 100% online?
Yeah. So, I mean, so I guess it kind of depends. I mean, if you're, I mean, because you're a purely online business, so it doesn't necessarily mean that in-person connections can't work for you either. So you might still want to play both to your favor, because you're marketing the online aspect, but I mean, if you're passing out business cards or flyers or whatever it is when you're meeting someone face to face, it's the same with me. I mean, they're still going to go online to find that space and what it is that I do, whether it's on the Alignable platform or my website or somewhere. So they're literally going to still go online. Um, and so I don't necessarily just sell online because I mostly am that face to face, either virtually or in person to do my sell. But yeah, but definitely connections in person still work I know a couple of people that have come to our meetings that purely have just online stores and they're literally just selling online, either whether it be clothing or a food type product or whatever it is. There's this guy that all he does is sell bacon and stuff online, and just see him, you go, hey, you're the bacon guy, because you remember what he sells,
Bacon?
and if you don't remember anything else about him, then everybody else goes, ooh, bacon. And
Oh my
they come
God.
over.
That's a personality trait.
Oh,
That's
Dude,
it.
that is a personality trait. Geez, I
That's
don't
it.
know if I
So
need the bacon, but I want to know what else is going on there.
exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, if unless there's reasons, I guess maybe you can't go in person, I suppose, and if that's where it's coming from, I don't know. But in-person connections is just another avenue to even push, relationships to, advertise your online presence.
Exactly. And I want to piggyback on that because it's like this. You go to these networking events, and I've been to a lot of in-person ones over the past couple months that I've been here in Phoenix area because there's a lot of networking here. And what happens is you get the business card from the person, then you go or you scan it with your thing and you connect with them on Alignable. And then what I can do because I have Alignable 360 is I can say, oh, I met Jeff. And then I can just go in there and see all the people that he's met. Now I've already made a connection with him. I've built a relationship with him. And I don't know who he knows. He knows lots of people and they could be all over the country in US and Canada. So I told exactly what Jeff said is really important. And I am all about in person as well. So very, very, very good answer. Go
Can
ahead.
I just say something cool about that? Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
I on Alignable met just connected with Emma here, who is not far from me. And so I was really excited. I potentially freaked her out a little bit. I was very zealous. And so it's like, that's what makes Alignable cool too, is that it can mimic the in-person piece, but it can come before the in-person piece even, right? Or vice versa, right? Because I'm always like, you should join Alignable. You should probably join it. So
Yeah. So in the last year, just an FYI, that's one of 3 stacks for my in-person networking business cards that my wife has had to put into my CRM
Oh my
of the
God.
Phoenix events locally here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you want to see that again? There you go. It's a little blurry because that screen share.
Those
But
look, gee, it might be worthwhile just to go to Arizona for a week and just see what happens there.
yeah, we got 4 or 5 in person every month. And so
month.
if you can split yourself up around the valley, there's lots to do.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow,
People
that's
drive like
exciting.
2 hours to all the events here. So did you see any more we have some more things in the chat.
Well,
Check.
we did have a couple questions early that I did want to just say really quickly. Someone asked, how do you get the surveys? Usually you're emailed the surveys, but you can also just about every week in the newsletter, I will put in one question for a survey that leads to the big survey. So in the newsletter, make sure to check that out. If you don't get your newsletter, search for Local Spark in your email, and hopefully you will find it. It might be in spam. Or thirdly, go to your community page and you can find it there too. But the newsletter in and of itself has so many great tips. I mean, Mollie and Jeff are covering all the great tips here today, but the newsletter has many others that, if you're not looking at your newsletter every Sunday, please do, because a lot of people benefit there too. And you can post after certain, posts and sort of connect with people that way too. So that was one thing. What were some of I know there was a great question that went far away, but one asked to Mollie and to Jeff, what percentage of your business would you say is now from an alignable source? Whether it was direct or indirect, what would you say, Mollie?
That's kind of hard to answer. I'm going to go with about 75% because the funny thing is when I do move over to LinkedIn, I have a lot of the same connections there because I met them on Alignable, and like it makes LinkedIn so much better to have people that I'm really connected to there. The other thing is that referral piece. Even if somebody isn't necessarily active on Alignable, a lot of the people that I've worked with have still come through. Like without Alignable, that wouldn't have happened either. So I would say 75%.
Wow.
Right, Jeff.
That's incredible. That sounds like a newsletter story in the making. I'm just jotting it down, Mollie. Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, I'm easily 60 to 70% of my new business all comes from alignable or indirect referrals from an alignable contact.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Okay, here's another question in the chat. What do you do when you are trying to introduce others? Like I'm guessing when you're in 360 and you want to introduce somebody to someone else and they don't either respond back to you or even accept your request to be connected. What do you do when you find that? Mollie, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I just let it go. I don't know. I just keep going because there's so many amazing people on Alignable. I'm not sure how many people are on Alignable right now because it's grown so much.
It's getting close to 9.5 million.
Oh my
Officially,
gosh.
it's
Yeah.
still over 9 million, but it may be even a little past that now.
Yeah, but just remember, not all 9.5 million are active. So that's what the question would come for.
Yeah.
That's why it's really, really important. And you two tell me if I'm wrong or you have some other tips for this person. But, it's like you can tell if people are active by going to the groups and see who's interacting. You can go to your insights page. If you're a premium or premium plus member, you get access to an insights page where you can actually see who's interacting with your stuff and who's active, who's clicked on your profile, all those kind of things. So I think you have to, I don't know, you guys, Jeff, what about you? How would you answer that question?
Yeah, very similar. I would probably move on, but I guess before I try to do that introduction, first thing I do is, do they have partially the profile? Do they have their picture? Is it a default picture? Is it them? Is it, are they highly recommended? It doesn't take much effort to get the highly recommended badge, which is just 5 referrals, 5 recommendations from, and that just means that you just barely started to interact with people on the site. So if I don't generally see the profile, the basic profile information and the highly recommended badge, I generally don't even start those conversations until they're to that point, because that at least tells me that they're probably not active and they're not really engaging anyway. And if they're not responding, then that's probably not a connection you want anyway. So there's going to be 50 other people in that same industry, maybe locally or anywhere else, work on a connection for somebody else.
100%. That's why I think it's so important, right? To make sure they're active before you spend one of your connection credits. Because if you use one of those connection credits to connect with someone you haven't even seen it or know if they're active, you can go on their profile too and scroll down to the bottom and see if they have any, you know, recent posts or anything like that. You can do a lot of that kind of thing. So do your due diligence is what they're both saying, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they've won a contest,
Yeah.
usually they're really participatory and responsive.
True.
Any
Go ahead,
contest.
exactly. Molly, you were going to say something.
Well, I was going to say too, the funny thing with Alignable that I've found is really amazing is that like early on in the early days, like a lot of us joined and there wasn't a whole lot going on quite yet, right? But then later, like divine timing, synchronicity, whatever happens, and somebody will connect with me from like a year ago, right? And be like, oh, hey, I just thought I'd log in. I didn't remember about this. And then there's an opportunity to be like, hey, why don't you come to one of my events and see how amazing Alignable has gotten in the meantime, right? And so they'll circle back once they realize Alignable is amazing. Now that it's, you know, been built up and really grown. So it's not a dead connection. It's just not time necessarily.
That. Okay, let's see.
Great
Do we got
points.
any other questions in here in the chat? I want to make sure we get to everybody's questions there. Go ahead and post them in the chat if you have. We only have like 10 more minutes left. Let's ask them, Chuck, is there anything else? I know what it is. Here's the question we get a lot. I'm surprised someone didn't put it in there. How much time do you spend on Alignable? And do you have kind of a system, like, you know, like I remember when I was really, before I worked for Alignable, I would get up in the morning, I'd check this, I do, you know, I had my system. But let's hear from Jeff. Go first.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of have a daily routine where I go in there, first thing, check my messages, because I get so many messages that I try my best. I wish there was more of a dedicated like messenger app where I could, you know, and I do have access where you can actually filter and you can tag and put notes on people. So you can tag them as a prospect or as a referral partner, and then you can kind of go back through in the Alignable 360 later, and there's a filter option, and you can filter those people out and look for them if you flag them as a potential prospect, and you can kind of go back and refer those, because as you get so many messages, you know, the guy that you really wanted to talk to might be 40, 50 down now in the chat bar, and you can't find them anymore. And you're like, oh my gosh, who were they? But if you now put the notes in and flag them appropriately, then you can keep up with those individuals.
Can I just say one thing, Jeff? I think you need to do a class on Alignable 360.
I know. I'm thinking, well, I might be reaching out.
I think you do. And Molly, I would want to see your class on Alignable 360 too, because I'm sure yours would be a little different than his, but you both have given great tips that no one else has given.
I know, exactly. Well, oh, look at that.
So cute.
So what is your what's your routine? How much time do you spend on Alignable, Molly? To share your kind of system.
Yeah. So I tend to be pretty like in the moment, but that tends to be a lot of the time on Alignable. So I'm not really sure how much I spend on Alignable between the events that I host and go to each week and everything, right? But I would say the best tip that I can give is that when you meet somebody at an event and you really want to connect with them, or you say, hey, like I will send you this or share this with you, or, you know, you say something to them that you're going to do, make sure you go and connect with them immediately. Like I think of it as like Alignable hygiene, right? You want to make sure that you get those things done right away. And I've actually started putting in the connection request, that personal note that you can put in. I'll put in like, hey, and then a little bit about the connection thing. And that not only helps them feel seen, but it reminds me about the connection itself and the things that I promised, because sometimes people won't sign back in for a few days to accept the connection. And that can really help keep it fresh in their mind. And I do love how Jeff said the tags, that has been super helpful, and the notes, because you can put that there too, right? For the long haul.
Yeah, so let's talk about that too, because I want to make sure someone posted that you didn't know you could flag people. So in Alignable 360, you have you can go into your network, you can click on someone, a little slide out comes out, and you can add tags, you can write notes about that person, and you can favorite certain ones. And then as or I believe it's any of the plans, the verified premium or premium plus plans, you also, I don't know if you two even notice this is pretty new, like over the last, I don't know, few weeks, there's a new connections tab that you can click on, and you get this page where you can sort and sort it by who you messaged last. So, which has been amazing. And you could go down to, you have experience with that, Molly? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was new, but I knew I just found it. So I did an event actually a few weeks ago that I ended up doing a second one that's coming up on using Alignable for like referrals and lead generation stuff and as market research and that kind of stuff. But when I was doing it, I was like, I don't really want to invite, like, I don't want to spam everybody with like an invitation, but I want to share it with people in a way that I know they'll get. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I found that tab and I was like, this is the best thing that has happened in a while, because it was so easy to reach out and say, hey, and I know that we've talked recently. So I know that it's fresh and it's not completely, it's like not an unsolicited spam message. And so I found that really, really helpful.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Jeff, did you know about that, or have you tried it?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that might even be, whenever I'm looking at those options for the tags and the notes, it has the little pro next to it. So it might be, the paid level that you're at to get some of those features. So, and here's just my thing on the paid version. After you get your very first client off of Alignable, if there's any kind of a residual payment from that client, it's paid for your Alignable membership forever. You just that first one. And then after that, it's a no-brainer. You just get all the features and the functionality of the platform and just let it ride.
100%. Do you have any?
Plus, it's a write-off too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Molly, what do you say about that? Why should people be on the paid plan and not on the free guest plan?
Well, I just think that the opportunities to participate in like the groups and things like that is really where it's at, right? Like, even if you're not somebody that wants to like host, like I think like smart connects are great for, extroverts and introverts, but hosting one as an introvert, I feel like would be easier than hosting like a webinar kind of thing, right? So there's a space for everybody there, and having access to that gives you all these extra features. Plus, it's so encouraging to log in and see, I've had this many views on my account, right? Like, and it's not expensive to, like, the first paid level isn't so expensive that it, like, that alone is worth it to me to come in and say, oh my gosh, look at all this potential. Look at how good I'm doing. It's growing.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Absolutely. I've heard that over and over and over again. I know we only have 3 minutes left, Chuck. I do want to just mention to everyone, I posted in the chat there a link to the Alignable University group where you can find this event posted every week. We have some amazing guests next week, and every week actually. And you can also find, I'm on Alignable Now What, any profile workshops. I'm doing an ideal customer referral partner event again next week. Today, this is very exciting. We have the amazing, I'm sure you two know, Jason Integrity and Sherry Pedrioli. They are the no holds barred, tell it like it is, don't be a goofball on Alignable kind of thing. We are doing an event today. It's going to be later today in a couple of hours. And it's called, I'm not getting any customers on Alignable Now What, basically. So if you want to learn what to do and what not to do, it's super fun. These two are just like, I'm just going to interview them and let them talk, because they're like, trust me, they're going to tell you it like it is. That's later today. Tomorrow, oh, one more thing in the chat. It says the well, first, the member success series YouTube is there, but there's a members only group called the Alignable Insider Community. This is for members only. You just have to have a verified premium or premium plus badge. We're doing some unbelievable events in there. First of all, there's office hours where you basically get free Alignable coaching in a very small group with Kathy, who works for Alignable. We do smart connects in there. These are serious business owners that are members, official members. We also do, I'm doing a members only mastermind, and we're doing some amazing events. This tomorrow, I am teaching everyone why you should all become a published author, and how I became a best-selling author overnight, and how you can too, even if you're not a writer. And I'm only doing that in the members only group. So, you know, 20, 30 bucks a month, whatever it is, 40 bucks a month, you can get access to really, really great events in the Alignable Insider community. So that is that. Chuck, want to take us away?
I think that's it. One thing that I was able to do in the insider community was do a how to get free PR for yourself,
That was
which I've
amazing.
done some follow-ups already on. And
Wow.
and I'd love to do it again too, because it's really something. It was very popular, which was nice. I'm not just saying that. We got nice feedback from people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so keep looking for those opportunities and keep asking. Ask Sue, hey, is there an expert on this who you could, wrangle for, one of those sessions? That would be good too. Um, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. This was really, really a fascinating one.
This was
And
a good one.
you guys, as I said, gave us tips we haven't heard from anybody else.
I love it. Thank you so much, Molly and Jeff. You guys are absolutely amazing. I want everyone in this room to go back to the event post where you logged in, where you registered, and connect with these two amazing humans. And I'm pretty positive they would probably love to chat with you and get to know you and share their secret tips, right? I know you guys are both big givers. And I hope to see you guys at our mastermind on Friday, and have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank Chuck for being an awesome co-host with me.
Please, thanks for having me, Sue, and thank you everyone for attending, and spread the word for next week.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you
Bye,
too.
everyone. Thanks so
Bye.
much.